Hello, wonderful people, wherever you happen to be located on our glorious planet. Today, on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be talking about something that deals with the Bible. But, as I always like to say, whether you are atheist or agnostic, Muslim, Hindu, or one of the other various hosts of religious sects, you can still stay. If you're curious about what the Bible has to say, remember this, dear people. The Bible, as far as we mere mortals know, is one of the oldest religious texts around. I never heard somebody say I found a Dead Sea Scroll to the Quran. Because for the most part, the Quran has always been there for at least over 700 years or so, maybe longer. No, I'm sorry. This Quran, the Muslim thing, took place roughly 700 years after Christ's death. So technically, it may be like 1,300 years old. But if you're curious about the Bible and what it has to say, stay tuned. And the thing I love about this topic, when I'm going over today, it deals with prophecy. If you're a prophecy guru, or you love to hear about Bible prophecy, stay tuned. And we're going to hear about a prophecy that will knock your socks off. And it's a prophecy that you never hear about in these so-called religious churches or synagogues, whatever. You don't hear about it. Most churches today, especially the Christian churches, they don't get heavy in the Bible. They do not. But I'm going to get heavy. My topic for the day is when God said, I'm going to send them a strong delusion, as my YouTube title on a YouTube thing called, I'm going to send them a strong delusion. So let's jump right in. Here we go. This coming from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 11. This coming from God, not from the prophet. God said this. And for this case, God shall send them a strong delusion. I have to underline that. Strong. Not weak. Not shallow. Not just a delusion. But he said, I'm going to send those people a strong delusion. That they should believe a what? No, lie. So this is coming from God. Not Satan. Not as imps. Not as devils. No. God said, I'm going to, and he said right here, I'm going to underline this word. He said, I'm going to send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. There we go. He said, I'm going to have it so you turn up and believe a lie that I'm going to send to you. You're going to believe that lie. God said, I'm sending it. Now, I did my little research on a delusion coming straight from the internet. It said, a delusion, like he said, it's a false, underline that word, false belief or judgment about external reality. So it had to deal with the real physical world. Hell, here we go. Despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. So, basically, you know it to be true. You know it's true. But you still hang on to falsehood. You know it's true. You know it's a lie. But you still hang on to what's false. A false belief or judgment about external reality. So it's something realistic. External means I can see it. I can feel it. Hell, despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary. And that means uncontrovertible. That means the evidence is nearly A level, 90% level, confidence interval. Massive. See? And now, here's what God said. He said, I'm going to send you a strong delusion So when he sends a strong delusion, you think it's angelic. You think it's a wonderful delusion. You think it's beautiful, but it's not. It's false. You think it's angelic and beautiful, and your twisted perception, but it's not. So let's keep going right on. So now we're going to see ancient Africa, not modern day Africa tainted by human beings. No, ancient Africa. And I'm building up to what I'm going to talk about. So we said my theme is that strong delusion, and we're going to see what eventually is this so-called strong delusion that God has sent to deceive you. Since you already love lies, that's why God did it. You already like falsehood. You already like deceptions. You're not really following God anyway. So he said, you're not following me, so I'm going to send something to throw them off topic even more. Ancient Africa, part 1. Here we go. Let me zoom in so you can see this. Now, most people, they just call this part Africa right here. They say, oh, this is Africa. This is Africa, all of this. But they never think about this part up here. They never call this Africa. But realistically, up here is North Africa. You may ask, why is it North Africa? Why? You see right here? All of this is one landmass right here. And then you see in this little part, it's connected. So, this so-called Middle East is connected to Africa. It's connected right to Africa. Because it's connected here. And it's connected here. And the biggest thing I like there, people, right here, when we see Africa, you see this little, where my little mouse at? The little outskirts of it. The thing about this little part, it fits together like a puzzle. So if I join this, all this stuff right here, we will reconnect. You know, over the years, over 1,000 years, 100 years, whatever, it's separated. But if you connected all of this little part up here, all of this is like you see right here, this fits right in here. This fits right up here. This can go in here. And this little part right here that you see that I have, that's connected to Africa. So it's not that's connected in one spot. It's connected here. And it's connected here. And the other part out here broke off. But we see it can fit right into here. This part up here fits right into here. Right in there. So this is really, realistically speaking, North Africa. But unfortunately, dear people, the Gentiles not going to tell you that. And I'm not going to point out who I'm talking about. The Gentiles, but y'all know who I'm talking about. The Gentiles not going to tell you that's North Africa. The Gentiles going to call it right here. That's what the Gentiles love to call it. They love to call it Middle East. That's what the Gentiles want to call it. But I was listening to a podcast a couple of days or a YouTube video. If it's called Middle East, where in the world is Southeast? I don't see no Southeast. They should have a Southeast. Where in the world is West? Middle West. I never saw a Middle West. Did you? Because it's using the direction East. I never saw a Middle North. Where's Middle North at? But you get my point. But we do have that one term, Middle East. But if it's a Middle East, logically, there should be a Middle South, a Middle West, and a Middle North. They ain't gonna tell, the Gentiles won't tell you all that. The Gentiles are stood away out there, Middle East, and want us to happily believe it. The Gentiles will never tell you that Israel, realistically, up in here, was really one time connected right to Africa. And is more connected to Africa than Asia. Here's Asia over here. Israel is more connected to North Africa than to Asia. True or false, people? You can tell me in the comment section. Let's move on to my next one. Now, this map is even more clear. Right here again. Before a certain event happened, all of this was connected. That's landmass 1. We come down. We see it connected in here. So this is landmass 2. And as I was saying earlier, Israel is right up in here. Closer to Africa. And the Middle East is way out here. Asia. But the Gentiles love. See this. Remember, the Gentiles made this map. The Gentiles never gonna call it North Africa. They'll never call it that. The Gentiles want to call it Middle East. But like I said earlier, where's Middle West? Where's Middle North? Where's Middle South? The Gentiles gave it that name. The Gentiles said, we're going to call this Middle East, and then the whole world following behind Gentiles, like the Israelites love to do. They're going to use the word Middle East. But realistically, you can call it Afro-African. It really should be called African, Africa, Asia. But this Asia, that's what it really should be called. But you see, realistically, people, all this up here is right here. All of this right here is really connected more to Africa. Because I said right here, all this landmass can be a puzzle, fit into each other. Definitely here. A puzzle in here. And it's connected right here. It's one big puzzle. That's really North Africa. So Africa is really huge technically. Alright, so let's keep going on. Let's keep going. Now, here's the game changer right here that changed it all. The Suez Canal. Let me go up so we can see it better. Here's the Suez Canal right here. See? The Suez Canal severed it up here. It severed this area from Africa. The Suez Canal made it a separate thing. Now, if you want to read about the Suez Canal, I'm not going to go into the history of it, not deep into it. You can read about it on the line. But the Suez Canal is what broke Israel from Africa. In my earlier maps, you saw this was one big landmass. In the Bible, you could travel from Egypt to Israel in several days or maybe a few weeks. However you want to take it. Okay, so I talked about that. Moving down my lower list. The Suez Canal, number 2. You see it right here again. This little red dot. The Suez Canal, basically cutting it. It's cutting that little section right there. It's breaking apart Africa from, you see, Israel. You look at it. Israel is right here. That's definitely a part of, look at that, North Africa. Israel not up here. I can't call this North Africa. Israel is right here. Jordan. All this little part right here. All of this is far more connected to Africa than to Asia. True or false? So in the Bible time, Israel was right here. It was easy to get from Israel to Africa. And you can read in the Bible, if you read the Bible, how many times the Israelites dealt with Egyptians or other African people. Because they are still close to Africa. And they once were actually African people because it was connected. Let's keep going. My next part. Now this little excerpt is more about the Suez Canal. It's about the Suez Canal. Let me give you a little background about it. The Suez Canal is an artificial sea waterway. It makes the Gentiles happy because now they can say, we broke that Israel from Africa. But it's artificial, man-made, artificial, sea level way in Egypt. See, we saw that. It cuts Egypt off from Israel, connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea throughout Isthmus of Suez, and dividing Africa. You see it? Africa is dividing Africa from Asia. The 193,300ths of a kilometer long canal, so it's a long canal, is a popular trade between. This is why they cut the Suez. This is why they made the Suez Canal. It's a trade route. That's why they cut it. Not to help the people out. They wanted to make it easy to trade between Europe, Asia, and you see this. They left off the word. See the Gentiles. They're not going to talk about Africa. See, the Gentiles, they do not want to say anything about Africa, but God going to take care of that soon. God going to take care of that. He's going to take care of all of that. In 1858, so that's when it was thought of, Fernand de Lesseps formed the Suez Company for the express purpose of building the canal. Construction of the canal lasted from 1859 to 1869. So that's when it was fully finished, 1869. The canal officially opened on the 17th of November, 1869. It offers vessels a direct route between the North Atlantic and Northern Indian Ocean via the Mediterranean Sea. That's why it was cut. And the Red Sea, avoiding the South Atlantic and Southern Indian Oceans, and reducing the journey distance from Arabian Sea to London by approximately 8. See, here's why they did it. Reducing the distance by 8,900 kilometers or 5,500 miles. That's like going all the way around Africa. Or 10 days at 20 knots, 337 kilometers per hour, or 23 miles per hour, to 8 days at 24 knots. So it's speeded up to you, speed-wise. The canal extends from the northern terminus of Port Said to the southern terminal of Port Tifix at the city of Suez. In 2021, more than 20,600 vessels traversed the canal, an average of 56 per day. So we got a little bit of history of the Suez Canal, constructed in 1869. The main purpose was for trade, and it was constructed to cut the distance down immensely. That's why it was. And remember, it cuts Africa from Israel and other parts of that area. Remember, it was really North African until they decide they're going to cut it and artificially change it. All right, let's keep going. As we saw earlier, here's that little area again. Before the Suez Canal was made, as I said, Africa was connected to this part right there in several places. Here, well, down here, there's a little waterway, so it's not really connected down here. It's a little passage. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But definitely connected here. One land mass. So it was all North Africa before the Gentiles changed it all. The Gentiles stepped in and broke it up. They severed that region from Africa. So now, in the Gentiles' mind, it's no longer part of Africa. We can't call it North Africa anymore because the Gentiles decided, hey, we're going to make that Suez Canal to break it off, to section it off. But originally, it was one big landmass, or one region, connecting them all together. That's how it was in the Bible days. Connected. Let's keep going on. Now I want to show you how some of the people look in that area. I did my research for the people. This how, you know, this is ancient Egyptians. Different shades of brown. This person looks reddish. This person is a dark brown. And this person is a lighter brown. So we got dark brown. And we got reddish here. But they are still brown people. Brown colored people. We see how the Egyptians look. So how in the world you think those Israelites look? Remember, the Israelites lived right in it. In Egypt for 400 years. So how in the world you think they look? The Gentiles love to mess things up. That's the Gentiles' way. Mess it all up. Let me show you some more people from that region. Right here. Now, I love this one. What happened to the black Indonesians before Arabs, inhabitants of North Africa? So before the Arabs came, you know the Arabs are all there. See, and the Gentiles, they love to show the Arabic people. Whenever they describe how Jesus looked, they point to the Arab. Their favorite word is olive. And I should have put an olive on here because I saw that. No, olive look green. It's green or black. Olive colored is green or black from what I can see. Whenever they talk about people in the Bible and Jesus and the Hebrews, the Gentiles, not saying no names, love to quote that color, olive colored skin. They love to say that. But here, this is pre-Arabic inhabitants of North Africa. This how they look before the Arab invasion. Like this. According to my internet research. See? Like I said, the Gentiles love to say how they look. Like a olive color, don't they? Let's keep going. Now, I did my little research again on ancient African people. It pulls something up like this. Brown all the way around. All I see is brown skin. And I'm not going to use that favorite word that the Gentiles love to use to describe us. You know what color, you know what that favorite color is. I'm not going to use that favorite color. Whenever the Gentiles talk about us, or they love to say a certain word, and it begins with a B. But realistically, these people are brown skin. Not that famous B word like the Gentiles love to call us. Brown. Alright, so let's keep rolling, people. Alright, so I did this. Now, here we're going to come to the star of the show now. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. I should have had drum roll on here. Maybe I should go to YouTube, look up a drum roll. Hold on. I'm going to go to YouTube so I get my favorite drum roll on here. Drum roll. Then we're going to show who the star of the show. Drum roll. Here's the YouTube's drum rolls. I hope this is the one I wanted, though. Here we go. Always a commercial. Always a commercial on YouTube. Here we go, my drum roll. I'm going to let it play the entire 52 seconds because this is massive. I'll let it go 20 seconds. Alright, that's enough. Here's the drum roll to start the show. Him, right there. This is the Gentiles' favorite image. Right here. The Gentiles like to say, this is how Jesus looked. Remember what God said, good people? God said, I'm going to send you a strong delusion so you can believe a lie. The Gentiles, they know how he really looked. They know how he really looked. But they keep showing this. A strong delusion. That's what God said, I'm going to send you. He said, I'm going to send you a strong, not a weak. God said, I'm going to give you a strong delusion. Let's keep looking about how they love to show Jesus. There we go. God said, I'm going to send you that strong delusion because you, Mr. Gentile, you, Miss Gentile, love to show Jesus like this. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you show him like this, you like to preach it to the whole world and bang it over the whole world head how he looked. And every time when so-called Easter come, and you know what I'm talking about, you go to the grocery store, you look on the rack, they show you pictures of Jesus, they ain't gonna show you how he really looked. They show this image. And you know, in the North African part of the world, the African part of the world, this skin tone don't exist. For the most part. Unless you're born albino. But the albino, they still look African-like facially. They may be albino, but they still got the big lip, the big nose. You get my point. He do not look like the Egyptian. You want to show you those Egyptian people? He did not look like those brown-skinned African people. He don't look like it. This is your strong delusion right here, so you can believe a lie, but you know what the truth is. Let's keep going, people. Now, let's read some things from the Bible. This comes from Matthew chapter 2, verse 25. In the verse, Joseph has taken Jesus and his family to, Egypt, which is North Africa, to flee. What does flee mean? It means run away. You running for your life. That's what flee means. And when you flee and you run for somebody, you running around people who look just like you. Flee the wrath of King Herod. When you flee from somebody who want to kill you, you flee to people who look like you. Because if you look different from them, they're going to tell her or whoever chasing you, we found a person who you want who look right here. He's different from all of us. Now let me read Matthew chapter 2. What I wanted to read here. I'm going to start at 2:13-21. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. We cover that. Go to Egypt, North Africa. So Jesus leave Israel. We saw how close Israel is to Egypt. Several days away if you're walking, but maybe a week. He said, go to Egypt. And remember, he said, escape. In this verse, escape. Seek safety. Be safe to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you. For Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and he went to Egypt. So Joseph, the angel that's not talking anymore, Joseph really, actually, matter of factly, he lived in Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And so was the fear the Lord, and so was fulfilled what the Lord had said to the prophet. Out of Egypt, this is hundreds of years ago, maybe 1,000. Hundreds of years ago, this prophecy was written. Out of Egypt, I called my son. So God said, my son is in Egypt with those Egyptian people, North Africa. We saw how they look. So theoretically, whether it hurt you or not, how did Jesus look? Because remember, God said He's going to send you a strong delusion that you're going to believe a lie. Let me finish reading after more. After Herod died, I don't know. I heard Jesus was in Egypt for about 3 years. That's what I heard, but I don't have the proof. After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph. And Joseph, it said, he is in Egypt. So the family, so that's actually, earlier the angel does say go to Egypt, but Joseph was still in Israel, wherever. Now we know 100% Joseph is in Egypt and said, get up, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel. So you walk back to the land of Israel, catch a camel or a mule or whatever, but you go back to the land of Israel. For those who were trying to take the child's life are dead. So he got up, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. The main thing we see here, people, Joseph actually was in Egypt. 100%. He was there. So let's go on. And now, thank you, dear people, for stopping by to visit this little site that's never discussed anywhere on the planet. People love to quote simple stuff in the Bible about God is my strength and my joy. They love to quote that stuff. They love to quote things like say, take one day at a time, God with you. They love to quote that stuff. They love to quote when God says, I am your shepherd, I will not want. They quote that to the death. They quote that until you flip over your grave. But they will never quote what I just now said. What God said up here in the very beginning of my slide. Let me turn this off. They will never quote this one. All these religious people, they will never quote this one. A strong delusion that God said He's going to send. For this cause God shall send. God said I'm going to send them a strong delusion. No one ever quote this Bible verse. They quote all the other ones. That they should believe a lie. They quote everything else to you. And you know that. If you're a Christian, a so-called Christian, you see that them quotes in the Bible daily. The Lord is my strength and my shield. The Lord is my armor to fight evil. They quote that little simple stuff all the time. But when it comes to stuff that's prophecy, this is true prophecy. We don't hear about prophecy anymore. God, and for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion. Not, like I said in the beginning, not weak, not whimsical, strong. That you're going to believe a lie. Heavenly Father, thank you for this lesson. Thank you for putting on my heart to go over Bible prophecy. Things that we never hear. Many churches, I go to church on a regular basis, they love to talk about the New Testament. They love to talk about when Jesus made the 3 fish turned to 5,000 fish. They love to talk about Jesus when He raised a little girl from the dead. They love to talk about Jesus when He healed the blind man. They love to talk about Him when He healed the paraplegic. But no one ever talk about the heavy things of the Bible. When you say, I'm going to send them a strong delusion. How many churches ever talk about something like that? Most churches, most religious organizations, all they seek is to tickle someone's ear. Thank you for this lesson in the name of the Holy Father and the Son and the wonderful Holy Spirit that was sent to help us. Amen.